Welcome to Intimate Conversations with Francis O'Brien, healing one heart at a time. How are you doing, family? I know it has been a minute and a half. Yeah, it feels strange to actually sit in front of the camera. It's really been a while. And if you do hear any noise in the background, as usual, please forgive me. It's just fellow tenants as well in the block that I live. So today's video is going to be a bit of an update, and I'm going to get into the topic of the day. I just thought I should do everything in one video and try not to take too much time. So how have you guys been doing? How have you been holding up? I know different countries around the world are still undergoing lockdowns. Some are re-implementing them. I know there's a crisis going on now with India, and it's just catastrophic. It's catastrophic to see, desperate families almost assaulting doctors, and to see patients actually sprawled out on hospital grounds, or trying to receive their treatment because there's a lack of oxygen. I remember I was listening to a video, or rather I was watching one of the interviews where they're interviewing a young man in India, and his father actually passed away from COVID because there was no space in hospital for a bed for his father. And then shortly afterwards, when he went home, his mother had also contracted COVID, and he had to desperately drive her around until he eventually found a hospital that had a bed 100 kilometers away from where they were. It just makes you think a lot about the hardships that people are going through. And let's not take life for granted. There are so many people who haven't woken up today whenever you get to watch this video. And for those that are watching me and you've lost a loved one because of COVID or due to COVID, my condolences to you. It's such a difficult time right now in the world, and all we can do is be patient with each other, be loving towards each other, be supportive of one another. That's all we can do right now. Just know that you are not alone in your struggle. I don't know who or what you believe in, but if you're a Christian, there's God. And I can only talk about, Christianity, and I can only talk about God because that is my faith. Hold on to your source of life. Don't get into that mode where you start blaming and, pointing fingers because of systems. Even though, yes, most of our governments in various countries across the world have failed us. But remember that we also, as citizens, can make a difference. We can make a difference during these times. We can lend a helping hand. For those that have got financial resources, I implore to you to, extend a helping hand and reach out to people who need a help wherever you feel that you can support. So yeah, it was just an emotional interview that I watched just to talk about that. And then I, on the other hand, have just been going through quite a lot since the last time we recorded. It feels alien, honestly, sitting in front of a camera because it's been a while. And, I really wrestled for a long time with God, and asking God, do I really need to do this? Should I do this? And I don't have the confidence. I don't know what to say to your people, Father. And, I don't know what to, address my followers with, which are also his followers. And I've been going through a lot, family, just so you know. It's been emotional struggles, it's been spiritual attacks. I can't even begin to tell you or explain the extent of spiritual attacks I've been receiving. And also physical attacks. I've been attacked by friends, I've been attacked by family, and it really almost put me in a space of doubt. I'm not going to say darkness because I've passed the darkness phase, but it put me in a space of doubt, and I'm just wondering, where am I at in my life right now? And and I remember T.D. Jakes once said that the road to the top is quite lonely. It's quite lonely. There's a lot of people that you have to let go of. And even if it's not to the top, but when you are in pursuit of your destiny, there is a lot of people that are going to have to fall away along the way. And it's not easy, it's painful, it's lonely, and you really have to have a good head on your shoulders. You have to have a very powerful source that you gain your strength from, that you pull your strength from. You have to have a refuge. You have to have quite an active prayer life. This is not a time to be silent. It's a time to really talk, to declare things in the spirit, because there's a lot that the enemy, that God has promised a lot of his children at this particular, what's the word? Stage, for lack of better words, in our lives, especially as his children. There's a lot that he is releasing into the spiritual realm for those that are sensitive to it. So if you are not, spiritually awakened, you can miss some of his messages. He's talking a lot right now. God is really, not that he hasn't been talking before, but right now it's really a lot. And I'm sure for those that really follow YouTube videos a lot, there's a lot of prophetic messages, prophetic words to God's children. So it's been really difficult, family. I've really been pulled. I have been attacked. It's insane. It's just put me in a really doubtful space. But because I have God, with God all things are possible. I am strengthened because he lives in me. And when I get into that moment of doubt, then I always go, I go back to him and I tap into his anointing. I tap into his presence. I tap into praise and worship. I tap into prayer. And it's so essential and it's so crucial at this time. And he's opened up my eyes to a lot of things, to a realization of many things. And I've had to come to terms with some of those things. Some aren't easy. Some really aren't easy. My faith is being stretched. I believe that at one point I am going to divulge what it is that I have been going through and the challenges that I've been going through, but it's been extensive, so for those who are still working from home, congratulations to you. I'm one of those as well. It's just the blessing, to not either join traffic or, not get into any kinds of modes of transport and expose yourself, to the virus out there. So working from home has been kudos to those who are taking, public transport, commuting to work. Please don't forget to at least have a little, ladies, even men, have a little bottle of sanitizer. Always wear your mask. It's winter now, so I'm not sure if we're going to experience another wave, because it seems like this virus goes rampant, particularly in cold temperatures. So now we're in winter, so please dress warmly. Please look after your loved ones, your families. Don't go out to places that are unnecessary. Keep a safe distance from people and all of that stuff. So that's been pretty much. So keep safe to those that are commuting to work, because that's also challenging. So I've been throwing myself into a lot lately. I've been reading a lot. That's one thing. Sometimes I do post, and most of the books that I've been reading are books that God has been directing me to read. I'm not ready to reveal the books that I've been reading. I hope that I will soon, but I've been reading quite a lot. And if you follow me on Instagram, I do post sometimes some of the covers of the books that I've been reading. So I hope that you're also keeping your minds busy. I've been exercising quite a lot as well, so it's just one of the life updates I'm giving you. I've been exercising a lot, and just investing a lot of time in myself, and investing a lot of time in with my Creator. And one of the books I'm reading by the late Dr. Miles Monroe, says that time spent in prayer is not wasted time, it's invested time. You're investing time, when you're praying to your Creator. So that's what I've been doing, family, and Skyping with family, across the country, across the world and stuff like that. So I've just been spending a lot of time alone and processing everything that has been happening, in my personal space. And like I said at the beginning, you know, it wasn't that easy. It wasn't easy at all. And I'm really brushing over a lot, but like I said, I hope I get to a point where, you know, I get to divulge. I've been going out, meeting old friends, which is really nice. So I'll shout her out at some point. But yeah, going out, self-pampering sessions, which have been really good and therapeutic. So yeah, I think this is about it in terms of my life update. If there's anything else, I'll probably talk about it later on. But yeah, that's what's been going on. I know it's been a while. I'm so sorry for not uploading content, family, as I've explained. It's just been a lot. But I hope moving forward that I'll be able to release a lot more videos, you know, for my channel moving forward. Right, now that we have that out the way, I have also been writing a few topics. It's just, you know, when some of them really are so close to home, it's really difficult to kind of, you know, verbalize them. So yeah, that's another thing I've been doing, by the way. I've been journaling a lot and writing topics at the same time. So I've been keeping my mind a lot, you know, quite busy and, you know, separate from things that have also been happening in my space. Yeah, but that aside, let's get into today's topic. Today's topic is titled, Are You Really Ready for a Relationship? I'll repeat, are you really ready for a relationship? This relationship today that I'll be referring to is a romantic relationship. I'm not talking about a friendship, a family relationship, a restoration of a, you know, what kind of a business relationship. No, I'm talking about a romantic relationship. And at this time, as I mentioned earlier on in my life update, and I said, God is releasing a lot of prophetic messages to, you know, his children. And he's talking about kingdom marriages and, you know, kingdom spouses and prodigals and stuff like that. Now, you know, it's all good and well that we receive these prophetic messages from our Father, but the question is, what is it that you are doing in your personal space and time to prepare for a relationship? You know, a lot of people, men and women, I'm going to talk about women particularly, you know, have found themselves single for a very long time. Most people have been single during COVID. They haven't been able to see their partners. Some people's relationships have ended because of COVID, the distance, not being able to be together. It's strained some relationships, it's strengthened some relationships. But today I'm going to be talking to people who are actually single and those and looking for a relationship, and those that are just entering a relationship. So I'll mention just a few pointers just to give you a guideline as to whether or not, as to reach a decision in determining whether or not you are ready for a romantic relationship. There's a piece of lint that just keeps flying everywhere and it's annoying me. So if you see me just glancing, looking like I've got squint, it's that lint piece that I keep looking for and I can't find it. Anyway, let's get to the point number one. Point number one is, are you ready to share your life with somebody? Are you ready to share your space with somebody? Are you ready to have someone in your life? You know, because remember, when you have somebody in your life, there's a sense of accountability that you have to your partner. And you might be saying, well, I'm not accountable to anybody. No, hun, you are. Because if you perhaps are staying together, or even if you're not staying together, perhaps if you have a late night out, your man may call you, or, you know, and ask you, so where did you guys go? You know, why did you come back so late? And you may, you know, and you may just be getting into this relationship thinking to yourself, why is this guy asking me like so many questions? Why is he giving me the third degree? You must remember, when somebody comes into your life, they care about you. So when you are, in their eyes, putting yourself perhaps in a situation where you are not safe, they will want to find out if you're all right and ask you questions. So it's not like you've got this detective or an Inspector Gadget or Sherlock Holmes on your shoulder, you know, investigating where you are and monitoring your every move and stuff like that. So you have to consider that when you get into relationships, you are going to have those questions of somebody asking you where they are. It's different if the person is asking you in a controlling way every single time that you go out. Sometimes you may tell your partner you're going out. Sometimes it may slip your mind. It'll genuinely slip your mind to tell your partner, oh, by the way, we're going out. Because there's some impromptu outings. So when your partner gets to find out maybe the following day, like, oh yeah, no, when we went out for drinks yesterday, your partner's like, oh, so you went out for drinks yesterday, but why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you say anything? Don't take it too personally, because your partner may just be asking, oh, why didn't you tell me? Maybe they wanted to tag along, or they just wanted to know because they're just curious. It's not to monitor, your every move. So that's question number one. Are you ready to have somebody in your life? This topic is quite broad, or this point is quite broad, because it permeates other pointers that I'm going to talk about. Number two, are you ready to share your finances with your partner? Are you ready to share your finances? And ladies, I'm also of the firm believer that the man is a provider, that the man is supposed to pay the bills in the house. I don't believe in the 50-50 and, approach. I really don't support it. I think you're digging your grave when you do that as a woman. But you get millennials and you get people who are of, no, but it works for me. To each his own. Agreed. I still believe that a man is supposed to be a provider, at least if he's doing 3/4 of the work. Then that's better, and perhaps the wife is doing a quarter. But if it's 50-50, women, let's be honest, it forces us to almost have a confrontational approach and say, hey, look, I also pay bills in this house, so don't even go there. Do you know what I'm saying? But when the man is supporting, it gives him a sense of authority and responsibility, and you look up to that. And that's not to say, woman, that you're also a weakling. No, it doesn't mean that. So are you ready to share your finances? Because when you are now in a relationship with this person, hopefully you are heading towards, in your mind, you're heading towards marriage, right? Now, this person is, there's a time where your partner may hit a bit of a financial shortfall. This is life. Things are happening so quick right now. You don't even see some of the curveballs that come, and your partner may either lose their job, they may, have a pay cut, that type of thing. So you may find yourself having to chip in financially. Are you ready to share your finances with this person? Are you ready to spoil that person? This is also to do with finances. Are you ready to book a spa for a person, buy a present for a person, spoil the person, treat the person, buy your man a t-shirt, a wallet, a pair of very nice trainers, that type of stuff? Are you ready for that, thing in your life where when you spend on somebody, you don't have a sense of expectation, where you're like, yeah, but I bought you trainers the other time, so why don't you also reciprocate? Why am I always the one to buy? Remember, when you are gifting somebody, I think I've mentioned it in one of my previous videos, when you are gifting someone, the intention is not for you to gift and always respect, always expect something in return. You are doing it out of love. You are doing it out of care. You're not doing it because, and if something comes, and if it's reciprocated, then it's really something worth, celebrating or appreciating and acknowledging. So are you ready to spend your money on this person? Are you ready? When they perhaps go through a financial ditch and they ask you for assistance, are you ready to assist without talk, conditions, or whatever the case is? Fine, yes, you may put conditions and say, you know what, I'm willing to help you, but I need 1, 2, 3, or I need it back at so in such a period of time. Obviously, those conversations have to be had, because if you don't, then there's going to be friction. So are you ready to spend your money on this person? If they bring up the story one day, or a scenario where your partner perhaps has forgotten his wallet and he needs to put fuel in his car, and he tells you, babe, I'm gonna, I'm sorry, but, and you can see the tank is like flashing, and if you don't put any gas in the car, it may die on the way. So it's different scenarios. That's like perhaps a small one I may be giving, because that's like a no-brainer. You obviously have to put something, but I'm just giving examples where there may be instances where you might have to financially pump into, into that relationship, into that person. Are you ready to do that? Are you ready to share your money? Or are you at the point where you've told yourself, you know what, I'm never going to spend a cent on any man, and if he wants to have any of my time, then he must spend. Having that kind of approach as well may not work out for you. So it requires wisdom and discernment, ladies. Just be very careful. Be very careful how you approach that particular aspect of money, of a relationship where you think, no, I'm not going to spend a cent on any man. You know what I'm saying? Some men, there are men who will really be genuinely going through something difficult and they just need assistance at that time, and they will pay you back. How you approach it may also be a test on your part, on his part, where he's testing you to find out how you think and how you feel. So you need to sit down and think about all these things. That, am I ready to do this? Am I really ready to share my money with somebody? And this also goes for guys. Guys, are you ready to spend? A lot of you have been burnt by females. I'm not even going to lie and act like we're holier than thou. A lot of guys have been burnt by women. A lot of guys have spent a ton of money with an expectation of sex, with an expectation of some kind of whatever reciprocation they had fathomed in their mind. There are a lot of guys who have really been hurt when it comes to the financial aspect. So they've also vowed that I am not going to spend a cent on a woman past this amount. And you may find, guys, that you will encounter a woman who has been with a man that has never spoiled her, and she would like to have the experience of a guy spoiling her. And you have just broken up with somebody whom you've done everything for, and they were ungrateful, and they were not appreciative. And that will hurt you as a man. And you think, you know what, I'm not going to do this anymore. Like, I think I've wasted so much money. And your friends perhaps have said, bruh, when it comes to chicks, you're like dumb. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's important for you guys especially to take your time, because you are the providers in these relationships. You're the ones who are going out to woo women. Are you ready to spend money on flowers? Are you ready to spend money on gifts? Are you the romantic kind of guy? Dinner dates, lunch dates. I was about to say play dates. But dates, do you know what I mean? And it's various things. You could decide to pick a hiking, a paintballing, is it? Excuse me. You could decide to go, I don't know, scuba diving. There's different things. So, you know, as a man, obviously it's chivalrous. And it's a man's responsibility, honestly, to, you know, pay for the woman's bill. Like I said in the beginning, to each his own. So guys, take your time. Take your time. Really sit down, and because you can make a mistake and go and really miss out on a good woman under the pretext of thinking every woman is the same, just because of your one bad egg. Not all women are the same. Not all women are the same. There are some out there that have spent so much money on men, and you know, when they meet a guy, they're like, you know what, I think I'm going to be cautious this time, especially if she's like a well-to-do woman and she's well off and she's very comfortable, you know, quite self-sustained, and she just is looking for somebody that won't take advantage of her. And you've just had a string of gold diggers. So you need to take your time. I remember one of the videos, I said, take your time to study a person. There is no rush. There is no rush. A person cannot pull on a facade for so long. You have got so much time to spend getting to know a person, to decide whether or not you want to spend the rest of your life with that person. We don't want to get into relationships to just divorce. That's not how God created them. That's why when God says, what God puts together, let no man put asunder, because it's what God put together. But if it's manly and, you know, they get pulled away and pulled apart in the flesh, and it's not him. Do you know what I'm saying? But that's a story for another day. Point number 3. Are you ready to share your body with a person? Are you ready to share about your body? Your partner will want to be intimate with you, and hoping at this stage you are wanting to get into something serious. So if you want to get into a serious relationship, your partner's going to want to cuddle with you. Your partner's going to want to kiss you. Hoping by then you haven't given your body to your partner, because the two of you are still trying to get to know each other. But should it also get to that part, are you ready to give your body to your partner? And this one goes both ways, because I know sometimes a lot of women have this thing of saying, Yeah, but I gave you my body. Woman, it's not like you slept with a brick. Like let's call a spade a spade. It's not like you slept with a brick. You also gave, this man also gave you his body. But I'm not even going to dissect that, because I know women are going to be like, yeah, but it's different for men. I understand that. But I'm talking from a woman's perspective, because you know how we are. We express our love by giving our bodies to men. Our men. Just to say it like that is just so crass, but we express our love by giving our, our bodies to our men that we are in relationships with. So if you've been in a relationship where you've been physically abused, you've been psychologically abused, mentally abused, you're going to find it difficult, because every time he tries to touch you, you have that, you kind of jerk away, or you what's the word, flinch, wince, you wince away. And it also puts ideas in his mind to think, what's wrong, like, are you okay, like I didn't do anything, when he starts to wonder what's up with you. You've got to take your time looking after yourself, because you don't want, sometimes you also don't want to give too much information to your partner about your past, because most of us, there's that piece of flint, and I know I squinted and I look funny, I'm sorry, and I'm not OCD, oh my god. So I know sometimes, our partners may be very curious about us, and here's an example. There's this lady that I watched on, what are those wedding channels? Say Yes to the Drip, Curvy Brides Boutique. This lady, she lost her husband, and I can't remember the real details, but I'll tell you what I grasped. She lost her husband, and when the husband passed away, she didn't deal well with his death, because I think it was also premature, it was too sudden, so she didn't have she didn't have closure, and she didn't deal well with it. God, being merciful, sent a really nice man along this woman's way. And he came in her life when she was still in her grieving period. She hadn't healed. And when I say she hadn't healed at all. The thing is, she began to look at this guy as her crutch. She literally looked at this guy as her crutch. So she would even verbalize it and say, I wouldn't be where I am. I wouldn't know, how did she say it? Somewhere along the lines of, I don't know where I'd be if it wasn't for this guy. Now, that sentence is also broad. So let's use it specifically in this scenario. She actually said, because she would get anxiety attacks, and when she gets anxiety attacks, he would literally be there for her, and then he'd like rub her, and then, console her and encourage her. The thing is, when you get your anxiety attack and that person is not there, what do you do? Like, where do you go? How do you regain yourself? Do you know what I'm saying? And, this leads into point number 4, which is, are you ready to give somebody your heart? Which tallies with this example that I'm giving you. Are you ready to give somebody your heart? You must remember, when you break up, it's time for you to introspect. It's time for you to reevaluate all the decisions that you have made, all the mistakes that you have made, and we all make mistakes in our relationships. Whoever it is that is going to listen to this, we all make mistakes. So in order to prevent them from reoccurring, we have to sit down and ask, okay, what did I do wrong? When that happened, how did I react? How did I respond? What is the best way, should this happen again, for me to respond to not yield the same results? So at that time, I believe this woman was not ready to give her heart to this man. But like I said, remember, and I'll keep saying it, to each his own. Sometimes when we struggle in our grieving process, God brings somebody to help you in the grieving process. But as a Christian, I will tell you this. This is why it's important to have a relationship with your source. God must be the person that you run to. When you have an anxiety attack, have God there for you. Ask him and say, God, take this spirit of anxiety away. Ask God to completely heal your heart, to completely heal your body, because in reference to the previous point, if you've been physically abused, Ask God to heal you. Heal your heart, heal every part of your body that has ever been beaten, battered, bruised. And ask God to send you a man that will respect you and love you. And in that process, take your time and then allow God to bring that person to you. Don't look at that person as your savior. There was only one savior, and that was Jesus Christ. Your mission when you go into a relationship should be that you are a whole individual. And I will always be an advocate, and I really support Dr. Miles Monroe when he said this: you must be an individual. Please read a book. Yes, just one of the other books I've been reading: Single, Separated, Married, and Divorced. And then Life After, if I'm not mistaken. So it's kind of a long title. Please look for it. Single, Separated, Married, Divorced, and Life After, or something like that. Please, please, please look for that book. Ladies and men and gentlemen, please look for that book. It is important. It is a powerful book that teaches you on the importance of individuality. It is so crucial to your growth. And like I said, it's also for married people. So it's for single people, for separated people, for people who are married, and for people who are divorced. It is such an important book. It's a crucial book. It's tantamount to your growth. And I highly recommend that book. I highly recommend that book. So when she said that, I just thought to myself, woman, you need to heal. You need to heal. You need to grieve. You know, because it looks like as soon as the husband died, it wasn't long after, or that man died, it wasn't long after that this guy came in. So, you know, there was no time to give herself, you know, an adjustment period to grieve and to mourn and to adjust and then to, you know, to heal and move on. So, are you ready to give your heart to somebody? Are you truly ready to give your heart to somebody? Giving your heart to somebody lets in a flood of emotions. But at the moment, have you got a guard over your heart? Because the Bible does talk about the importance of guarding your heart. Guard your heart, because out of it flows the issues of life. You must guard your heart. And that is you being healed. That is you being cautious. And when I say create boundaries, I'm not saying build walls as large as the Great Wall of China, where you are impenetrable. You are as impenetrable as Fort Knox. No, that's not what I'm referring to. But guard your heart. Ladies and gentlemen, especially ladies, because we're so emotional, we're emotional creatures, you need to guard your heart each and every time. You must prepare yourself. Am I ready to give my heart to somebody? Am I ready to love somebody? Am I ready to be loved? Am I ready to receive love? Because a lot of us have been hurt to the point that we don't know how to receive love. We don't. Some of us know how to give, really give it out. But we give so much to the point that we become shells of our very existence. And we don't know how to receive. We've been so broken, we've been so emptied out. We haven't let God come in and fill us in with His love that will give us peace, that will give us peace of mind, that will give us peace of in our hearts, peace in our spirits. We haven't received that love, that agape love. And when we've been emptied out so much, anything can come in because our walls are down and we haven't guarded our hearts. So when somebody comes in that God has sent and we don't know how to receive love because our walls are up, how do you receive love? How do you receive love when your heart is a basket full of holes and the moment it comes in, we let it out? I've seen so many men who've gone into relationships, or I can't say many, but I've seen quite a few men who've gone into relationships with women who are broken, and they keep pouring love into these women, and these women are so battered and bruised. They become quite, what's the word? Abusive in approach. They have a very brash, a brashness to them. They have a disregard to them. It's like, oh, whatever. But babe, when you come in, hey, don't ask me questions. Nah. You know, so when a man is taking his time to pour, and some of these men, when they fall in love with these women, they really fall so deep and so hard. I believe they've seen something good in that woman, but because she's so battered and so bruised, she doesn't know how to get out of that situation. And she thinks all men are the same, so whatever God brings to her, she's categorized it all as trash. And that's where that statement comes from. Men are trash, men are this, men are that, because you haven't healed, you haven't taken the time to ask God to, close every door of pain, of hurt, of abuse, of, any door that the enemy has opened in your life. You haven't asked God to close all those doors so that you can face the next chapter of your life. So, are you ready to give your heart to somebody? So the next point, I think it's point number 5. Are you ready for disappointments? Are you ready for disappointments? Are you ready for disappointments? Because people are human. We make mistakes, right? This person is not going to live up to your expectations each and every day. This is not a robot you are dating. This is a human being, and human beings err. And when they err, you have to have the heart of forgiveness. The Bible, when one of the disciples asked, I think it was a disciple who asked Jesus, so how many times are we supposed to give? And Jesus Christ replied and said 7 times 70, times 70 times 70. You get the picture. That means forgive all the time. And the forgiveness is not for them, it's for you to have peace. Because if you hold on to that grudge and that offense that your partner has committed to you, probably knowingly, unknowingly, most of the times it's unknowingly, you have to have the gift of forgiveness. And it's a gift. It's a gift. Whether the person asks for forgiveness or not, you release that offense. You release it. If it's repeated a couple of times, yes, then you address it. Understood. But now if you see that this person is not changing and they're not learning from that mistake, then it's really time to have a rethink. Because clearly it's a pattern that this person has learned and they're not willing to change from that pattern. So are you willing to, forgive a person's mistakes? Bearing in mind, you also make mistakes. You're not perfect. You will offend. You will offend. One way or the other, you will offend. So make sure that if you're ready when you're making your decision in terms of getting ready to get into a relationship, tell yourself, I'm ready to forgive the mistakes that this person will make. Ladies, sometimes the mistake is like, we've been hurt so many times, I'm not ready to, receive somebody who's got so many mistakes and stuff like that. When the guy comes, he may be smooth for the first 3, 4, 5, 6 months. He may be smooth then. The one fence, you see, I was waiting for this to happen. Oh, all men are the same. Come on, ladies, like really. If guys are doing the same thing, then this applies to you guys. If you're going through the same thing, which I'm sure you do, and I'm sure you are, you need to have a spirit of forgiveness when you are going to get into a relationship. Are you ready to forgive? Are you ready to accept somebody's mistakes? You are not going to get through this life without mistakes. Forget it. Forget it. Forget it. You're not going to get through this life without mistakes. And that goes both ways. And I think I'm moving on to point number 6. For those people that don't have children, are you ready to have children? Are you ready to have children? So this is one of the pointers. If you're just joining in now, I'm talking about, are you ready for a relationship? I'm talking about a romantic relationship in this episode. So are you ready to have children? And if you've got children and you're entering a new relationship, are you willing or are you ready to have children with this new person? Because now this is going to be a blended family. And if you're not going to have children with that person, if he's coming in with his own children, ladies, are you ready to have a blended relationship with this person? Are you ready to accept his children? Because sometimes we're so one-sided, ladies, that we think it's our children that must be accepted. We can't accept his. You know what I'm saying? And unfortunately, some of us as women, we can tend to be very, let me use my words very carefully. Sometimes we can be very abusive towards another woman's child. And it's not that the child has really committed the offense, it's the anger of the relationship between your man and his ex. If that makes sense. So you find yourself kind of unleashing on the child, and it's unfair. It's unfair, but that's a conversation for another day. Are you ready to have children? Are you ready to have children? I'll ask that question time and time. Sit down and ask yourself, at my age, whatever age you're at, especially if you're older, am I ready to have children with this person? These are conversations you need to have with these people. Have these conversations. If that man tells you, I'm not ready to have a relationship with you, then you know what? You need to walk away, because if you are wanting to have children and this person doesn't, when the children come and they're unplanned, it may cause such a painful friction in your relationship because of these children. It might even cause a breakup, especially when men are older. Some men have really resolved, I am not having children after 50, period. I do not care. Or after 45, I don't care. Do you know what I'm saying? But some men have also changed their minds with that resolution, and dependent on the woman that God has brought in their lives at that specific time. But these are conversations you must have. Women, if you're older, are you ready to have sleepless nights for a couple of years? Probably first year. Are you ready for the school fees journey? Are you ready for the school activities journey? Are you ready for the homework journey? Are you ready for the developmental stage journey? Are you ready for the different phases journey, which is from toddlers to the terrible twos to, I don't know what other stage there is, and then the teenage stage, and then the young adult stage? Are you ready to go through all of that? Are you ready for the play dates? Are you ready to have children when you go into a relationship? Are you ready to see that person as the father's or the mother of your children that you want to have? When you look at that person, do you ask yourself, this is somebody I would love to have children with. This is somebody that I would see as the mother or the father of my children. That's a very important thing to ask yourself, ladies and gentlemen, because this is a lifelong commitment. And when I say lifelong commitment, not in a perfect world, it's obviously because you are intending on getting married. But it's a lifelong commitment, not really lifelong, but I think you get what I'm saying. The majority, for at least 21 years, 18 to 21 years, that is a commitment to raise a human being for the next 18 to 21 years of your life. Are you ready for that as an individual and with somebody else? In one of my videos, I did talk about it, to say we are so anxious, we're so ready to say, as women, I want a child, but you know what? Even if there's no man, it's fine. To each his own. But there are pros and cons. A lot of cons. And that's not to say children that grew up without their fathers aren't, don't grow up to be really great people. No. But you are trying to have active parents, in the child's life. So are you ready? I think that was point number 6. So these are pointers in reference to, are you ready for a relationship? And I mentioned, I think, about 6, and they're very crucial pointers that you need to ask yourself, ladies and gentlemen. And I think point number 7, if I do forget any pointers, please leave them in the comment section below, because I'd love to hear what you guys want to say and share. If there are any pointers, perhaps there'll be a part 2, because there are many reasons that would lead to you being ready for a relationship that one has to consider, ponder, if need be. So the last point, I believe, for this particular episode is, are you ready to share your space and your time? When you're getting into a relationship with somebody, if you guys eventually move in together, that means sharing a bed. For men, that's like underwear in the bathroom or underwear on the wash line. That's like makeup in the bathroom, makeup in the bedroom, on the makeup, what you call this, dressing table. They are, for the old school, dressing table. I don't know if they still call it that now. Are you ready to, have, if you're a neat freak and your partner comes in and she doesn't mind leaving the dishes or, leaving stuff lying around, items of clothing lying around, for some men, ladies, they will come into the house from the house, it's, it's a laptop bag on the floor, it's cell phone keys on the kitchen counter and the car keys, and then it's one shoe off and he's walking undressing, one shoe off and then a sock and then a sock and then pants and then a shirt and a vest and a tie and stuff like that. So you might be the person picking up after this person. So are you ready to share your space with this person? Are you ready to share your space with this person? Sharing cupboard space. Men, women have got tons of clothes. So when you say, babe, I want you to move in with me, you must know your closet space. You're having a quarter, she's having 3 quarters. So are you ready for that? This is obviously in hoping that there's no women taking men into their places, because yeah, ladies, I don't advise that. I really don't, and I can talk about that as well if you'd like me to. Just leave a comment and ask me, and let me know if you'd like me to talk about that. Are you ready to share your time with somebody? Some people are loners. They're loners. Some people really treasure their alone time. Like, I just want to be alone. Like, I want to be alone. And you ask them why? It's because I just want to be alone. Some people like to take walks alone. Some people like to exercise alone. And then when you're in a relationship, you expect, because we're in a relationship together, we need to do at least almost everything together. You know, so you get into, and there's nothing wrong with that, because obviously you're trying to bond. You're trying to get to know each other in different, you know, in different activities. You want to get to know each other, and you want to spend time, you know, with your partner outside of just intimacy. Just to know what makes your partner tick, what makes them, you know, what turns them on, what their hobbies are and stuff like that. And when I say turn them on, I don't mean sexually. I mean what gets them going, what motivates them. Do you know what I mean? So some partners enjoy waking up in the morning and just sitting in the balcony or a terrace or a patio with a cup of coffee watching the sunrise. Some people are late morning people. Some people get out of bed at 9 a.m. and your partner's been up since 6 or 5 o'clock. And their day has been jump-started from 5 o'clock. And you're still there at 9. Are you ready to share your space and your time with that person? Because everybody's got their different habits. So if you're not ready to share your space with somebody who's like that, you people are going to clash. And a hell of a lot. You guys are going to clash. Tons and tons. These are some of the pointers I think you need to really consider. You really need to consider. Some men enjoy going to the gym alone, just to, you know, pump out the frustrations of the day. You could be part of the frustrations. And I don't think he really wants you there when he's trying to blow off steam from either an argument you guys just had that morning or that after when he came back from work, or whatever the case is. So if you're going to be there nagging, no babe, but you mustn't lift it like that, that's another thing. And you know, as women, we tend to be controlling and sometimes overbearing and wanting to control the person, which is a horrible thing to do, because you can't really control a grown man. It's just, you shouldn't be doing that, ladies. So are you ready to share your space and your time with a person? In every relationship, like I said, there's sacrifice. There's certain things that you just have to accept. You just have to accept them. It's part of being in a relationship with a person. They're going to do things that you don't like. They are going to say things that you don't like. You need to be forgiving. You need to be patient. Are you a patient person? Some people have been told like a couple of times. You know, and it's not because they're dense or they're doing it deliberately. It's because they've just got a way of doing things. It's a habit. It's a pattern. So when you're coming into their lives, they have to adjust, and it'll take time for them to adjust to you and, you know, coming into their space. So like I said, some people have extreme OCD. I mean, just leaving a t-shirt hanging on a chair would send somebody over the bender. Literally. So, and you'd be like, what's the big deal? It's just a t-shirt on the chair or on the couch. You could just take it and chuck it into the washing basket. Do you know what I mean? And you get somebody saying, no, but if you know it's supposed to go in the washing basket, then why don't you put it in the washing basket? Ah! And then you're thinking, okay, wow, you are extra. So extra. So, diet. That's another thing in your space and time. Diet. Your girlfriend may be a vegan, and you are a carnivore galore. And you are scoffing down, you know, kilos and kilos or grams of meat, and she is just like, oh my God, you horrible human being. Like, how do you have a conscience to scoff down meat? The poor animals. Do you know what I mean? So you have to be accommodating of each other. Perhaps your husband is, or your boyfriend is a gym freak, and he is so health conscious. So there you come traipsing in, and you're a chick, maybe you've got a very petite body, or maybe you're even chubby, who knows? And you're coming in, you are seriously hammering a burger. And he can't, because he's on protein shakes and he's on, you know, energy bars and, you know, and stuff like that. And he's just watching you. Maybe his dinner is going to be like a chicken breast and veggies, and broccoli. And there you are with the grilled cheeseburger. your boyfriend is like, could you be more sensitive? And you're like, what? Do you know what I mean? If you're chubby, he may just take a jab at you and say, don't you think you should be eating something more healthy? You know what I mean? And if you're slim, he could probably be jealous, like, how do you scoff down so much and not even add like a kilo of weight? What's wrong with you? How's your metabolism? Do you know what I mean? So those are all the almost comical things, but I can tell you, it can be very serious. They can affect your relationship. Because when I was watching my 600-pound life, if one of the partners is trying to lose weight and the doctor has given him a specific instruction, you must lose this weight by a specific period of time, perhaps if you need to go for surgery for gastric bypass, and you've got a partner that just eats almost anything and everything, and they're enabling your unhealthy eating habits, that poses a problem. It poses a problem for you guys in your relationship, because your partner's slowly killing you. Literally, they're slowly killing you. So there's a humorous side and there's a not so humorous side to this particular pointer of diet when it comes to your space and your time. Like I said, some of these pointers really are broad and they can go and touch various other issues. But these are the pointers that I managed to raise today. If I got the numbering wrong, I do ask, really forgive me. But yeah, I'm just grateful to God to give me the strength to get through today's episode. Just talking to you guys, it just reminds me how much I really miss sitting in front of the camera. I really miss sitting in front of the camera. It's such a blessing, and I don't take it for granted. I really don't. And I pray that this content has helped you today. I pray this episode has blessed you. I pray that it has enlightened you into making better decisions for your life. And I hope that it promotes healing in your space. Some of these pointers you may sit down and think, you know what, I don't think I'm ready. I don't think I'm ready. Some of them you may think, you know what, I think I'm ready. I think I'm okay. I think I'm healed. I think I've grown. And now I think I'm ready. And when you're ready, it's not like you just jump into it. Obviously, as a mature person, you take your time, you discern. You ask questions. Ask that person questions. I mean, really, there's nothing wrong with asking the person. Obviously, you're not going to sit there. It's not like you've got a, it's not like you've got a flipboard and you're like, I need to act this one out. I haven't done this in a long time. So you guys bear with me. So it's not like you'll be sitting with a clipboard and you'll be like, now one, do you have any kind of abusive tendencies? Check. Do you know what I mean? So you're not going to do that. Obviously, you're going to ask questions about how the person ended their previous relationship, and you'll determine from there whether the person has got abusive tendencies or not. I'm sorry, but I had to act that one out. It's been a long time since I've had a good laugh with you guys. But anyway, this brings an end to my episode today. I hope you had fun. I hope, like I said, that this enlightened you. And I hope it brings healing and closure and clarity to you, whatever stage of life you find yourself in. Perhaps you also are in a relationship or a marriage and you've decided to end it. And you're thinking, you know what, I should be wiser getting into the next relationship. Then now you're wiser. You're all the more wiser because you're gaining a lot of information. Read. Spend time, investing in yourself. Sorry, that was my timer going off. I'm going to close it here. Thank you so much for watching Intimate Conversations with Frances O'Brien, healing one heart at a time. Until I catch you guys next time in the next video, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to this channel. I look forward to reading you guys' comments. Please make sure that you drop a comment. I so want to hear from you guys. Thank you so much and have a wonderful week. Until I see you again, it's a goodbye.